morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Scar. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when you are called to speak. Again, pressing star 6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Okay, well, welcome. Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. And I know that Commissioner Yamamoto is actually not with us this morning. He is waiting to testify at a state hearing for the legislature, sitting in the other room, sitting on his own computer. So he may join us later if he completes his testimony. All right, we will jump in with Adventist Health. Eric Swanson, are you with us this morning?
I am. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Sorry, I missed you the last couple of weeks. I actually called in at 7 a.m. I was so excited to do this call and then realized I'm an hour ahead. So glad to be back on track. This morning we have 13 patients in our hospital. No patients boarding in the emergency department. 9 surgery cases scheduled today. Yesterday our ambulance crews did 391 transports, 1 transfer, no transports home. In Oregon, we have 75 patients boarding in emergency departments waiting for beds. That's 11 more than yesterday. And just to put it into context, on March 1st, we had 214. So that number has significantly moved in the right direction. Discharge delays continue to be a problem across Oregon. 388 patients that are in hospitals that should be discharged, but there's no place to go. 52 less than yesterday. And on March 1st, that number was 466. So that one has moved in the right direction, but I still see it. It still is really pretty high. As talked last, Adventist Health has acquired Mid-Columbia Medical Center in the Dalles, 49-bed hospital, and that has been approved by the Oregon Health Authority and the Oregon Attorney General's Office, and Adventist Health will take over operation of that hospital, I believe, sometime in June. So you'll hear probably more news about that as that happens. It won't impact Tillamook at all, but it will become part of the Adventist Health family. Next week is Hospital Week, and National Hospital Week is our opportunity to highlight hospitals, health systems, and most importantly, our healthcare workers and the great way that they serve and are connected to our community. And for a little history, National Hospital Day was created in 1921 as a way to encourage trust in hospitals in the wake of the Spanish flu outbreak of 1918. It was later turned into a week in 1953, coinciding with Florence Nightingale's birthday to honor her role in revolutionizing hospital care in the mid-1800s. And today it's the nation's largest healthcare event. So we're excited to do this next week and celebrate our associates, and we've got all kinds of fun stuff planned for them. Monday we're serving them breakfast, and actually myself and the other executives will be doing the cooking. And Tuesday we do a thing called Tuesday Tea, where associates can sign up and come and be served high tea, which is really fun, a popular event. Wednesday, we've got Wellness Wednesday events happening. Thursday, we will be giving the Daisy Nurse Award away Thursday morning. And on Friday afternoon, we serve our associates floats on Fridays with Tillamook ice cream and Pelican Pub root beer. So there's your history lesson and a little bit of information about what we're doing next week for Hospital Week. So unless you have questions, that's all I've got for you this morning.
Thank you, Eric. That sounds lovely. Does anyone have any questions for Eric? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Again, thank you for the information. I will, as always, provide a quick shout out for Coastal Caucus. I'm pretty sure they are all in Salem, probably in committee hearings as we speak, either testifying or listening to others testify. There is a lot going on. Okay, not hearing any, we will move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center, and I believe we have Ed Colson with us this morning.
Yes, good morning, Commissioner Scar, and good morning, Tillamook County. Our health department here just has some, some updates here. The CDC has updated COVID-19 vaccine recommendations. The first is that adults 65 years old and older are recommended to get a second bivalent booster at least 4 months from their previous bivalent booster giving them a total of 2 boosters in total. People aged 6 years old and older who have a medical condition that makes their immune system compromised are recommended to get a second bivalent booster at least 2 months from their previous booster, a total of 2 bivalent boosters. Individuals aged 6 years old and older who have already received 1 bivalent booster do not need to take any action unless they are 65 years or older or immunocompromised. These updated bivalent boosters first became available in September 2022. The monovalent, which is the original mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, will no longer be recommended for use in the U.S. since the bivalent versions offers more coverage against variants such as Delta and Omicron. Now, our flu and COVID-19 vaccines remain available by appointment at many healthcare facilities and pharmacies in Tillamook County, including our main health center location. So just as a reminder, the health department will be offering COVID vaccines by appointment on Tuesdays and Thursdays only. And we will continue to monitor variants, vaccination news, booster rates, and other developments, as well as keep links to current CDC data valuables on our website. So if you need any resources or support with finding a vaccine or isolation, you can contact the Tillamook County Public Health Department. We're at 503-842-3940 or 211. And once again, if you do test positive for COVID-19, please follow the OHA isolation guidelines, which is to isolate, meaning stay home from work and away from others for at least 5 days from the start of symptoms or positive test result if you don't have symptoms. Seek treatment as early as possible if you're at high risk of severe COVID-19 illness. And as good practice, continue frequent hand washing and disinfecting of high-touch surfaces. At-home COVID test kits remain available at county library branches as well as at our main clinic off of 9th Street. And a quick event that we're participating in, it's going to happen next week, and we will be participating in Tillamook's Touch a Truck event on May 9th. Our mobile health clinic, alongside other utility vehicles, are going to be parked in front of the courthouse on Laurel Avenue from 4 to 6. This is in celebration of Public Service Recognition Week. So this event's going to allow children and adults to meet public officials, learn more about what they do and how they serve the community, as well as to get to see, touch, and climb on a truck. The health department is going to have some grab bags and local resources available on board our mobile clinic, and we look forward to everyone joining us. And that's our update. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. I have a question others may have as well. It's around the COVID vaccine and it's around the bivalent boosters. And so for myself, I've had my 2 originals and I've had a booster. Does that mean were all boosters bivalent, or is there a certain time window in which you would have gotten your booster that would have been bivalent? Can you give us just a little bit of information so that if we are not in the 65 plus and not in the immunocompromised, we know if we should be seeking a booster?
Yeah, so the updated bivalent boosters first came out in September of 2022. So if you've had a booster after that, you have had a bivalent booster on there. But as far as if you've had your booster prior to that, I'll have to ask my public health nurses. We'll get some clarification on that and post it on our website there.
Perfect. That would be great. I think that would help a lot of folks who are thinking, well, I had a booster. Did I have the right booster? So thank you for that. Any other questions for Ed? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail, are you with us this morning?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
A couple of reminders and a couple of shout outs as well. Our weekly Norris County Walking Group is this morning at 10 o'clock. Everyone is invited to join the wellness team from the Health Center and Pharmacy at our weekly walks. We explore different Norris County locations each week. And for the locations, visit our website at nehalembayhealth.org or check out the Facebook page. And there's also other information on other walking groups across the county, so please feel free to visit TillamookCountyWellness.org. And there is another reminder, one final informational meeting on the Nehalem Bay Health District's upcoming local health care bond measure. That's this Wednesday, May 3rd, 5 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center at North County Recreation District. That's in Nehalem. For more information on the bond measure, you can visit nehalemhealthcare.com. And here's the shout outs. Yesterday was the annual lawn and garden show. It seemed to be very well attended. It's great seeing folks there and other community partners who were present. And also yesterday, the STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Scholarship Award Ceremony at Tillamook Bay Community College. Congratulations to the scholarship recipients and all the nominees from Tillamook, Neocani, and the Stucca school districts. It was a wonderful event. And that's it for today. Of course, we're here to serve you. If you're interested in scheduling an appointment with one of our medical providers, including behavioral health, give us a call at 800-368-5182 for more information. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that. Great shout out to AAUW, our own Shelby Porter, who worked with our health department during the COVID times and was very instrumental in the vaccine clinics and so forth, was one of those awarded a scholarship as she goes on to further her career in the medical field. So that was a great event. Okay, I have a note that Tillamook Family Counseling Center will not be able to be with us today, so we will jump right down to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown.
Good morning, I am here.
Good morning.
I'm not sure if people noticed, but this weekend was a very busy weekend with Friday having the weather that it did. It kind of, I think, spurred people's desire to be in the sun. So we did have a very busy weekend, and I'm sure a lot of people saw and heard sirens and ambulances and fire trucks. And so I ran the numbers this morning. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for this weekend, which was unique, like I said, because of the weather on Friday, the Sheriff's Office handled 190 calls for service in that 3-day period. Now, that call for service does not include ambulances, fire calls, things of that nature, other police agencies, but that's just the Sheriff's Office alone. Now, by comparison, the previous weekend, there was only 105, so we had 85 calls more on this nicer weekend than the previous weekend. And then when you compare that to the last weekend in April of last year, there was only 136 calls. So if it felt like it was a busy weekend with lots of sirens and police and ambulances going everywhere, there was a reason for that. It definitely was. We had a pretty good uptick. So good time just to remind everybody that even though the weather's wonderful, still you want to make sure that you're driving safe. You want to make sure that when you're in or around water, you're being safe. When you're recreating, just use common sense and be safe. That way your weekend is enjoyable and you don't have to worry about seeing us or any of our other first responders. That is the only other thing I want to mention, and I heard Ed mention it, is the Touch a Truck event. Tillamook City's putting it on. It's their 3rd annual, I believe. Sheriff's Office will also be joining. I'm hoping to get 2 vehicles in there this go around, but we'll see how busy we are and what we have available, but we'll definitely at least have some representation there, and I'm excited to do it. It's usually a very well-attended event. Love seeing the big smiles on all the kids' face that get to come by and see it and get to sit in our police vehicles or whatever other vehicles are out there. So looking forward to that, and that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions for the Sheriff? Hearing none, we will move on to Emergency Management. Randy Thorpe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Well, we'll start off with our second container was delivered by the Oregon Department of Human Services, the Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, last week. This was the second of the 2 containers that they are placing here in the Tillamook area. And these containers are part of the Emergency Preparedness Partnership that's between the Department of Human Services, Tillamook County, Port of Tillamook Bay, and the Near Space Corporation. Excuse me. At this time, we're trying to come up with some dates for what they're calling a seminar, where they'll come, we'll get the containers opened up and basically provide a high-level briefing on their contents and deployment. And then also later on this summer, when the weather hopefully is fairly decent, we want to start doing some actual training and field exercises for the setting up of the equipment. And so hopefully people be able to come up with some good dates for that, so we can get properly trained on all this vital equipment that the state is placing here. The other big thing is that May is Wildfire Awareness Month. So this is a great time to get out there and create that defensible space around your home, and also to help prevent the start of any careless and unwanted wildfires this summer. So with that, I'll turn it back to the Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Randy. Appreciate that. It's very exciting to have the emergency equipment moving into our county, having that out at the port, where in the event of a significant, whether it be an earthquake or other natural disaster, we have tents, we have cooking capabilities, things that we didn't have up until about, what was it, a week ago when those containers arrived. So that's fabulous. Okay, moving on. It is the first Tuesday of the month, which means that we have the Oregon Department of Transportation, or ODOT, with us today. And I know that Bill Jablonski is on the line. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner Scar. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you?
Great. Well, thanks. Same here. Doing well as well, too. Excited to do my update every month here for Tillamook County, and I know the focus is on Oregon 6, and I do have quite a bit of Oregon 6 things to share today. I know that the continuing Oregon 6 corridor study is still underway. We're looking forward to having our stakeholder advisory group meeting as next week at the Port of Tillamook Bay offices. I believe that's is next Tuesday the 9th from 5:30 to 7:30. The second open house for the Oregon 6 corridor study is scheduled for May 9th, Tuesday the 9th from, I'm going to bring it up here, from 5:30 to 7:30 as well. All folks are welcome to come and take a look at the progress that the Technical Advisory Committee as well as the Stakeholder Advisory Committee has been working with ODOT and our consultant on coming up with our solutions. The second open house will actually be the identification of the options that were identified at the locations that were on the previous open house and the previous work to show what improvements need to be made within the corridor. We hope to have some ballpark or real rough cost estimate ranges for those improvements as well too. Just to remind folks that our deadline to the legislature, ODOT's deadline to the legislature, is September of 2023. So we are under the gun here to complete our public involvement process and get our draft report to get ready to go and then submit to the legislature in September. So looking forward to the final stages of that corridor as well. Other things of Oregon 6, as you recall, maybe the last time I was here, I talked about the 24-27 Statewide Improvement Transportation Program, otherwise known as a STIP. That's the roadmap that ODOT uses every 2 years to put projects in the STIP for us to be able to apply funding for and work within our communities around the state. The 24-27 STIP had a number of projects in the Oregon 6 corridor. What we have done is we've advanced those projects to start in our current STIP, the 21-24 STIP. Those projects identified are the Oregon 6 Roadside Barrier Project, which is all new guardrail from Tillamook to Banks. The Oregon 6 at Wilson River Loop improvements is one that is going to be starting and kicking off here soon. The Oregon 6 paving from mile point 4 to mile point 9 is also one we're advancing as well too. I don't have a good idea on a construction. I can give you a construction year of say 2024 to 2025 on those, until the team really gets going and kind of can identify efficiencies depending on how much right-of-way there needs to be. That update for the actual construction date will change over time, but I can certainly update this group as time changes and as we get more updates as we get closer to construction. Let's see. And one other thing I'll pass along is on Highway 130 at mile point 8, our ODOT district crew is doing a bank stabilization project. So you might see some traffic control, some traffic out there is trying to stabilize the bank there at mile point 8 on Oregon 130. I'll take any questions. Otherwise, that is my update for this month.
Perfect. Thank you, Bill. I'm going to just call your attention. I don't know if you've received a copy of the letter that I recently received from Adventist Health Tillamook. It looks like it was sent to Richard Kearns, so you may not have gotten a copy of this yet. But they just wanted to raise up some safety concerns around the crosswalk, which is in front of our local hospital and crosses the street to both parking and another medical facility. And because this is not only a city street, but also still designated as an ODOT highway, Highway 131. It looks like they are raising this issue with both ODOT and with the city to see if some additional signage, flashing lights, things that have been used in other high traffic crosswalk areas could be inserted there. So if you don't get a copy of that, give me a shout and let me know, and I will make sure that you get a copy of that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I believe Commissioner Bell maybe had mentioned it to me as well too. I'll chase that down as well too and see where we're at with that.
Perfect. That would be great. That is a really high traffic area due to the fact that that is the highway, of course, that takes everyone out to Netarts and Oceanside.
Sure.
And a lot of folks who are not familiar with our traffic patterns and don't necessarily know that that is a hospital and a medical facility, and that there will be people crossing and people who may need some extra time. So appreciate your attention on that one.
You bet.
Okay,
No problem.
any other questions for Bill while we have him?
Good morning, Bill. This is Commissioner Bell.
Hey, Commissioner.
Hey, good morning. I wanted to ask you in general about this issue of crosswalks over 101, because it came up again recently for me in Nehalem. I was at Wanda's, which is an awesome little restaurant in Nehalem, right on 101, and the owner asked me about the crosswalks there on 101 because people park. The public parking is on the other side of the highway. And he said, well, who paints those crosswalks? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's ODOT or if they contract with the city. And so it just in general, with that, if there are crosswalks in a city, is it ODOT or do you contract with the city?
Well, good question, Commissioner Bell, and it is kind of tricky when it comes to crosswalks throughout the state. The state identifies state-managed crosswalks, and that is done in conjunction with the community, with the city, with the county, to determine where is the best need or where the pedestrians actually go the most, that the state will manage those crosswalks. The other crosswalks, of course, are, for example, here in Astoria, the city of Astoria designates crosswalks, so they maintain those themselves. So there is a combination of state-managed crosswalks as well as local crosswalks as well, too. We do a crosswalk inventory. I can look and see, in Nehalem, which crosswalks, and I can reach out to that community as well too, which ones are state managed and which ones are actually city crosswalks. We certainly can have that conversation with the folks like Nehalem and also with Tillamook. I imagine that discussion will happen in regards to the crosswalk by the hospital as well too. We'll have to take a look and see where the maintenance responsibility falls with that crosswalk, if it's a state one or if it is a city one.
Thank you so much. That would be great help.
You bet. No problem.
Thank you, Bill. It's never as easy as it seems. Somebody posted a question on Facebook the other day, and it said just very vaguely, "Who's responsible for the roads around here?" So it was interesting to watch people's answers. I put my own in, which said that depends, because it could be a city road, it could be a county road, it could be a state road, it could be a private access road. There are so many answers to that question. So we appreciate you being with us and your willingness to work with us as we suss through, and particularly on these crosswalks, who is the sort of jurisdiction responsible. So thank you for being here, Bill. We appreciate it.
No problem. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. All right, we will move on to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bell.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit about the election today. The special district election is coming up on May 16th, and Tillamook County voters should have received your ballots in the mail. If you haven't received your ballots, you might check in with the clerk's office and see what's happening. See if if there's something going on, or maybe they'll issue you another ballot. But everybody should have received them by now, as far as I know. And I talked to Tillamook County Clerk Tassie O'Neill yesterday and asked her how many ballots they've received so far, because we're doing vote by mail, people can vote and send in their ballots, and then the clerk's office keeps a count as they're coming in. And as of yesterday, there were only 255 ballots received, which is not too alarming because it's early in the process. But we all have our ballots now, so don't let it get lost in a stack of stuff on your desk. Please vote and turn in your ballots. And also I wanted to talk about how complicated this election is, because there are so many people running. And I was out at the Home and Garden Show this weekend at the fairgrounds. I saw Gail Nelson there. That was lovely. And I saw lots of people there. It was a fun event. And I talked to a lot of people about the election, and I lost track of how many people said to me, I looked at the ballot, there are so many people on it. Why don't we have a voter's guide? And so I'll answer that question. We don't have a local voter's guide because we don't have the capacity in our clerk's office. We just have a couple people in the clerk's office, and they're very busy with the election. There are typically 4 people working in the clerk's office, but right now we're down to 3, and we don't have the capacity. But we've been talking about how can we help inform and educate voters about what's going on. And we'll continue to have that conversation and try to figure out how to move that project forward that doesn't include dumping a bunch more work on the clerk's office while they're overwhelmed with the election itself. So there must be a solution, and we'll keep working on it. But in the meantime, there are a couple of good resources for information that are neutral resources where you can just go and get information. And one is, if you're on Facebook, there's a site called MoveVoter, and it's just for Tillamook County elections. And the reason it was started is precisely what I'm talking about, that there isn't enough information about local elections. So MoveVoter does a great job posting all of the candidates that are running for elections and giving them the opportunity to talk about to make a statement about their campaign, and voters can ask them questions, and they can choose to respond or choose not to respond. So you can get a lot of information on MoveVoter if you're on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, another excellent resource is the Tillamook County Pioneer. The Pioneer is an online newspaper, and they have done an outstanding job of doing questionnaires for every single race, or at least every contested race in this election, which is a number of them. So there's all 3 school districts and the community college board, the transportation district. There may be more contested races that I'm not thinking of at the moment, but there's a bunch. And so the Pioneer has done a terrific job of reaching out to all of those candidates in each of those races, asking people questions, and then publishing their questions in groupings, so you can get on and see the Tillamook School District candidates, the school board candidates, and all of their candidates and all of their answers. And that is very helpful. So I'm grateful to those organizations for that work they're doing, providing information to voters. And I want to share that news that if you looked at your ballot like mine, which is 2 full pages of, front and back of people, and you don't know where to find out information about them, it'll be frustrating. So please use MoveVoter and Tillamook County Pioneer to learn more if you need to. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. There is a lot of information out there for sure, and I appreciate Commissioner Bell highlighting where you can look. There was an AAUW Candidates Forum last week, and I do know that MoveVoter is actually doing some online candidate forums as well, and they have segmented it so you can pick the one for North County, Central County, or South County to focus in on your area of voting. So if you have access to Facebook, just look up MoveVoter. There's lots of good stuff there. There are some other candidate forums as well. I believe that the Republican Party is also hosting candidate forums, so you can take a look for that. There's just lots happening. So I keep saying it everywhere, educate yourself and vote. Okay, couple things that I want to highlight. We had our county budget hearings, and you keep hearing me talk about that. So I will say just a quick update on that. We had our budget hearings a couple of weeks ago. The treasurer is now working very, very hard to balance our budget. And I just want to touch in on the fact that the county is required to present a balanced budget, which means that we cannot budget to spend any more money than what we have in revenue, which seems like a pretty obvious thing. But we're hearing a lot right now at the federal level about the debt ceiling and the negotiations that are being done for that work, and I want to be just super clear that the county doesn't have that opportunity. We must present a balanced budget. So just a heads up, we will, the treasurer, as I said, is working very, very hard as your elected official to go through and take everybody's asks and to work it down till we have a balanced budget. So more to come on that on our budget hearings in the upcoming weeks, where we will be presented by the treasurer what work she has done and see if that will meet the mark and if everybody's good with that. So the other thing that the commissioners are a part of are the budget committees for the Solid Waste Budget Committee, which is happening this afternoon. Solid Waste in Tillamook County is a special revenue fund. It is not part of our general fund, and it is required as a special revenue fund to have its own budget committee, its own budget hearing. So that is being held today from 3 to 4:30. It's held here at the Tillamook Courthouse in the Commissioners' meeting room, and I don't have in front of me the 3 lay people that serve on that committee, but there are the commissioners and there are also lay people on that budget committee as well. So if that's of interest to you, please feel free to join us either in person or online. The other budget committee that commissioners are a part of is the 4-H Budget Committee, and that will take place this week on Thursday from noon to 1:30. And once again, you can join that remotely, or you can join us in our conference room here in room 106. So lots of budget work going on. I'm sure that all of your cities are also doing their budget work. It's a great time to get involved if you have any concerns about how your tax dollars are being spent. Great time to check in on that with your local governments, and in this case with your 4-H Budget Committee as well. That one is tax funded, whereas your solid waste generates the revenue they spend. Okay, so those things going on. Couple other things. I had the opportunity to attend the Pioneer Museum's exhibit opening last week. They have a fabulous exhibit on the original Tillamook County Courthouse, which is the building in which the Pioneer Museum is located. So as you have time, it'll be up over the summer, so I encourage everyone to get over there and visit that this summer. It's really actually quite interesting to stand in the space of the museum and to recognize what it originally was. So that main space that you stand in was originally a clerk's office. So it's kind of fun, and then as you walk through the museum, they have little signs in every room telling you what its original use was and a little bit about the history of how that building transformed from being a courthouse to being the museum. And in fact, it's not even the original building. The original building was a wooden building that burned down. So go learn more. It's a great museum and a really fun local exhibit to check out. And one other thing, I just want to give a shout out to Northwest Senior and Disability Services. As being a commissioner, I serve on their board of directors. And yesterday we got to hear from Stacy Zerker, who is original Tillamook County, and she is their food programs manager. And we had the opportunity to review the contracts for senior meals because they are provided by Northwest Senior and Disability Services, and found out that the meal space, in Pacific City at Kiwanda Community Center is the most well-attended meal site in the entire region, which is a 5-county region. People really, really love and appreciate that meal site. So just a shout out to Northwest Senior and Disability Services and their meal program for what they offer throughout Tillamook County in terms of good, nutritious food for our seniors and a gathering place for the much-needed social interaction. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move us on to our cities. Manzanita, I believe we have Mayor Deb Simmons back with us today. Good morning, Deb. Maybe not. I thought I saw her phone number on here.
Yes.
There you are. Good morning.
Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. I wanted to first congratulate Shelby Porter on her scholarship. She was one of my students when I taught at Nehalem, and as an adult, she has given so much back to this community, and I just remember her with warm fondness, and it's great to see her as a productive and giving adult. In Manzanita, we have the Citizen of the Year nominations that are due on the 15th of May. We have a city council meeting on Wednesday, May 3rd. It is an in-person meeting. It is at the Pine Grove, and it will start at 6 o'clock. The Budget Committee will have a meeting on Monday, May 8th at 4 o'clock, and that will be on Zoom. The mayor's Mondays, it wasn't on the calendar yesterday, but it's definitely going on for the month ahead. We were there yesterday, but the next one will be on next Monday at the library. It begins at 10:30 to 11:30, and it's just a casual chat with no real agenda. So I look forward to people dropping in and sharing their thoughts. So that's the update for this week, and thank you for your time.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, moving on to Rockaway Beach. I'm not sure if Charles McNeely is with us today. Quick shout.
I am. I am. I did call in on a different phone number.
You did. You got me. All right. Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Tillamook County. Just a handful of items to mention. We've had a total facelift of signage in our community, and the new gateway signs are finally finished with the addition of the Twin Rocks logo, and all the signage has been very well received by our community. There are 2 more projects underway. We are going to put in an additional kiosk with a glass front cabinet for community notices, and unfortunately the map at the kiosk at Troxels needs to be flipped for proper orientation. But huge shout out to Public Works, to Tillamook Coast Visitors Association, Nan Devlin, for really upping our game from a signage standpoint. For those who have ever dealt with low water pressure, you know that can be a problem. Well, we've just finished installing a water pressure maintaining valve, and that will increase water flow and pressure to our downtown area and all the areas south of downtown. So all of those folks, I'm sure, are very excited about the improvement in the water pressure. For the community, a long time coming, but the railroad crossing on South First Street is now paved. The new tracks are laid with the accessibility capabilities. So there's a huge improvement. Cars, bicycles, strollers, wheelchairs, accessibility devices now can move smoothly into our wayside area. And so we're very excited about that. Now we're on to beach access, and progress with the permitting process for the new beach access is moving forward and looking very promising. As all of you know, there's lots of jurisdictions involved in these types of projects. The final step for permit submission is completion of an environmental impact statement, and the city should have this environmental impact statement done within the next few weeks. And then last, a little update on our Salmonberry Trail segment project. We've held 2 listening sessions with merchants and business owners to gather their thoughts. We've had our first listening session to hear from our residents. We've gotten overwhelmingly positive response and excellent input. And we have 1 more listening session and a public workshop on design coming up in later in May and June. So that's my update. Back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to hear that the Salmonberry Trail work is moving forward in Rockaway. The Salmonberry Trail Foundation is a nonprofit that was started to support the work of the Salmonberry Trail, and recently they hired an executive director who has just really upped the game of the Salmonberry Trail. And I realize for you all, you were part of the first wave of grants awarded about 2 years ago to work on the engineering and ultimately the construction of the Salmonberry in Rockaway. I've shared about the Salmonberry Trail Foundation because I think the exciting part is we will begin to see more spaces moving forward in the same ways that Rockaway is moving forward. So exciting to begin to see that on the ground. Former Commissioner Hartline has been working on this for years and years, and he said, I hope we get some trail on the ground while I'm still around to see it. So he is part of the Salmonberry Trail Foundation board, and I think he's determined that we will get trail on the ground for him to walk on. So just an exciting piece moving forward. So thank you. Appreciate you sharing that, Mayor. Okay, we will move on to, we'll go on to Garibaldi, and then we'll circle back, see if I missed anybody. But Garibaldi, Mayor Tim Hall, I believe you are with us.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
The only announcement Garibaldi has is that we are going to have our first budget hearing for the fiscal year 23-24. It starts tomorrow morning at 9:30 at the City Hall Community Room. The community and guests are welcome. We have some difficult decisions this year, so the community support and understanding will be appreciated. That's all that I have.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, quick call out. Is Mayor McCall from Bay City with us today?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, yeah. So I would like to start with a shout out, a real heartfelt shout out to everybody who worked on and participated in Bay City's budget process this year. As we know, a lot of costs are increasing well above inflation rates, and so the budget process, it was really tight this year, and some tough decisions had to be made. But last night at about 7:45, our budget committee completed their work and with the changes they made, and sent the budget off to council for final approval. And I'm really pleased to say, so staff did a great job putting it together. All 13 members of our budget committee were present for every minute of the deliberations, and we wrapped it up last night. And it is a great thing to have a committee that was full and working and really collaborating together to move this on. The other thing I would like to announce or bring up is that this Thursday at 9 o'clock, we are looking for volunteers to help us plant trees and shrubs in the Al Griffin Park area. So between the park and the campground, we're doing some stream restoration activities, including planting some trees that we got from the Beekeepers Association and some other plants that we got from the Tillamook Estuary Partnerships native plant nursery. And so if you are available and like to help us plant some stuff, 9 o'clock down at the park on this Thursday morning. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And I appreciate your calling out in the budget process the challenges that all of our municipalities and our county and our special districts are facing. As people may or may not realize, we get the funding that we do get from property taxes. And property taxes, while it seems like there should be a ton of money, just a reminder that Measure 5 and Measure 50 that were voted in the late 90s limit the growth of property tax revenue to 3% per year, which is a fabulous thing if you are a homeowner and you have the opportunity then to make sure your taxes don't outpace your income. The challenge is for our county and our cities and our special districts. Inflation has long outpaced the growth of revenue. And so we are all, I believe, arriving at a point now where we're extremely challenged to find a way to create and present that balanced budget that we are all required to have. So I'll probably keep harping on that all the way through budget season and beyond, but it's definitely a challenge. So thank you, Mayor, appreciate that. And a 13-member budget committee, that is amazing. Good work.
And we were still short one, but we'll get that filled next year.
Woo! That's a lot of folks to have eyes on the budget, which is fabulous, and a lot of folks to agree. So again, great work. Okay, moving on to the city of Tillamook. Nathan George, are you with us today?
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, I can.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, first of all, I want to go over our meeting last night. We had a regular meeting on May 1st. Just a couple things. We had some discussion. Sarah Absher with the Tillamook County Community Planning Department was there to talk to us about new FEMA regulations, and the City Council voted to have the city manager work with the county and prepare and submit a letter of support for what the county is making recommendations to FEMA on the regulations, or at least comments, I should say. Also, we had one contract amendment for city manager, one small contract amendment. We also had the new company where it used to be the rodeo. We have a new company now. It's going to be opening up a grill and tap house. It's called Corral Grill and Tap House, and they were approved to have their liquor license. It's a license to the state, but the city council approved the local government portion of that. We also held a public hearing and read a first reading on ordinance updating the city zoning code regarding accessory dwelling units. This is essentially, for the most part, just updating the city codes with what to be in line with the new state statutes on accessory dwelling units. So there's a lot of changes there. If you have any questions, so please contact our planning department. We also had our operations, normal operations monthly report. We went through the operations report that I prepare and I put on our website, or on our agenda, I should say, which is on our website, typically every first meeting of the month. Sometimes the second, it's almost always the first meeting of the month. That's a complete operation of all our departments and various updates to the council. Also, our mayor gave a brief report talking about the Tillamook High School Drag Racing Club and what they're doing with building their vehicle, which was pretty neat. We also had a couple updates. I want to give just a quick overview on those. Our Public Works Department gave an update on the streets and what we're doing with the streets. And in fact, the really neat thing is the Public Works Department is now, in the past they just would get a bunch of cold patch and go out and sort of fix things. What they do now is they have a street sweeper who goes through and sweeps, and as they sweep, they take an assessment of all our streets, and then they have a systematic process to come back and patch holes. So working on doing that. We're working on getting the 5th Street repaving and ADA ramps in it has to be done at the end of this year, so we'll be working getting that in this summer. We also had a police department update on community policing and dispatch reporting. So just a reminder to everyone, and we had this public meeting to kind of remind everyone that it's really important when anyone's experiencing anything to call our dispatch or call our 911. When you call 911 or you call dispatch, what happens is it goes through a whole system. It's logged in, and we can follow up. 911 has the specific questions that they answer, they ask, and they can get answers for it. It goes through a whole process. The same thing, if you need to make a report or you need to get an officer, call dispatch, let them know you need to make a report, and we will send an officer out there, or we'll have you meet. Same thing, if you come into our police department during the office hours, Monday through Thursday, you can get an officer. They will find an officer for you and meet with them. It's really important that everyone is putting in reports if you're experiencing issues with crime or harassment or anything else. It's really, really important, because without those logs, the police can't do anything. We have to have that information, that process. We have to go through the proper procedure of the state. There are a lot of comments. Oh, this was done in the past, and this was done, and this was handled. We don't have any record of those things. We go back and look, and there's no record, and we don't know what was happening. So in order to do it the right way and have the proper resources, we have to have everyone call in. I like to kind of use a little example. If you're next door and your neighbor needs an ambulance, you're not going to call Eric Swanson with the hospital. You're going to call 911. And it's kind of the same thing. I get a lot of calls. People are like, what about this? What about this? They're calling me directly. And you need to call up, you need to hang up, and you need to call dispatch or call 911. So it's not that I don't care. I definitely follow up on a citizen's request, but it's really important that we get people to call in dispatch and get our system in place. Our police department takes twice as many calls as the average for our size of jurisdictions. And I know the sheriff's department also is working very hard. So just a quick update. If you see something, say something. That means calling dispatch or calling 911. It's an emergency. So that is the basic overview on our council meeting last night. Also in our Public Works Department, the street crews are street sweeping and pothole patching this week. They completed gravel road maintenance on Grove Avenue from 9th to 12th Street and on 7th Street east of Miller Avenue. And we ask everyone to please be mindful of employees and equipment as they're out working. We want to thank the Tillamook People's Utility District for donating fresh wood chips to our Ironworks Spark Park. It's a very popular park, and we appreciate their assistance and partnership in that, and this isn't the first time. The city's water distribution division is pulling monthly water samples. This is a routine monthly test throughout the city to ensure safe and clean drinking water for citizens. We want to remind everyone that our Touch a Truck event is next Tuesday, May 9th, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That will be right in the street, Laurel, between the courthouse and the city, as we've had in the last 2 years. This is part of the city's celebration of Public Service Recognition Week, which is next week. So we ask everyone to please come. You can meet all kinds of great, hard-working employees from the public sector, from city to county to state, even federal. Sometimes we have the Coast Guard there. So we're looking forward to it. This week, the city of Tillamook and Bay City are performing a routine exercise of drinking water intertie between the two cities. For those of you who aren't aware, our cities are tied together to help each other out with our water. The aim is to test its functionality and freshen the line. The Intertie was established about 15 years ago to enhance the resiliency of the water infrastructure in the need of a disaster. This ensures that both cities have access to safe and clean drinking water. And we are partnering with ODOT to implement a structured schedule to clean and maintain the bioswales along Main Avenue and Pacific Avenue. By doing so, the citizens will see aesthetically pleasing improvement in our downtown infrastructure. So just a quick update on that as well. We've had a lot of comments, at least since I've been here and possibly before, about our bioswales or the stormwater filtration system that is in the city. When ODOT came in and redid the 101 a few years ago, the intersection in the street, that was the option the city chose, was to put in those bioswales. There was other options. That's just the option they chose at that time. And we have been working, and the chamber was involved because they really had some concerns. And so I asked ODOT they would allow them to be involved, which they were. It was great. But there are a lot of proposals, and people want to do this and do that. We can't do any of those things. And it's come back finally. ODOT spent a lot of time and money really looking at what could be done. The situation is it can't be changed because the DEQ and other regulatory agencies require that filtration system there, the way it's built, the way it's planned. The only thing we can do is keep it clean. The only other option really is to replace it, and that is a significant amount of cost, and which neither ODOT has, nor we definitely don't have as a city. So hopefully sometime in the future something can be done. But for now, we have to keep it clean, and we can certainly remove invasive species of plants, and we'll put in the correct plants. ODOT has been very kind and generously offered to have at least 8 hours of employee staff per month helping clean it. We're already cleaning as a city, so we're partnering together. So I just want to let the community know that we, other than keeping it clean and possibly replacing some of the plants when they're invasive, there's nothing we can do. That's what we have to do. We have to abide by state regulations. So, and if anybody's any questions, they're more than happy to contact me or contact ODOT. The city would like to congratulate Jay Andes for receiving the winning bid for our 2023 flower basket program. Their arrangements of hanging flower baskets will be hung up in June. We're excited to see what they create. In the police department, Officer Fitzgerald is progressing nicely in his field training. We are anticipating he will be on his own in 2 weeks. Officer Neubauer received his basic police certification yesterday. He did it in under 1 year. And the DPSST, which is the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training, requires this to be done within 18 months of hire, so he got it done less than 12. Chief Rao met with interim school superintendent, I believe it's Mabbitt, and other representatives of the school to discuss the deployment of portable radios within each school to ensure the safety and effective communication of staff and students. This is all part of the risk assessment that he presented last fall for the school district. So in that situation, Chief Rao identified that in the school buildings, the only communication they have is between the principal and the classrooms. In an emergency event, you need to be able to have communication between the different teachers. You need to be able to have communication between teachers standing at the buses loading students, and with that, we're putting in radio. Well, not we, the school will be putting in radio as a recommendation of the city to allow that interaction between, in case of emergency, they can contact, say, hey, we got a problem here at this bus, or we got a problem here and there. So we're excited about that, and we appreciate the partnership with the schools. Chief Rao attended the monthly law enforcement head meeting facilitated by Sheriff Brown with Chief Hart from Manzanita PD and our Oregon State Police Lieutenant Tucker and District Attorney Aubrey Olson yesterday. These are great meetings and conversations to ensure the partnership and effective communication between our agencies. So that was an initiative of Chief Rao to bring all of our agencies together and work, and we really appreciate that in our law enforcement. The Tillamook Planning Commission has a vacancy due to resignation. If you're interested in serving this board, please contact the city's planning department or apply online on our website, which is tillamookor.gov. And the city has a vacancy on the budget committee and has for the past year. If you're interested, you may apply online or contact the city's finance department for more information. We have the way it's structured. There's seven people from the council are on budget committee. This is by state law, and the other 7 people are folks from at large. And the way it's tiered, we have people come up every 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. So we actually have at least every year we have appointments being made. So if anyone's ever interested, to let us know and we'll get you on the list. If you see something, say something, as I mentioned again. Just wanted to bring that up again about helping keep our community safe. On the follow-up about the pedestrian walkway from the hospital earlier this morning, While I know there's some discussion on it earlier, while that is located in the city, any such proposal or project is solely at the discretion and responsibility of ODOT. So city certainly supports, and if ODOT said, hey, we need some help with this, we would be happy to help. But that is in any of our jurisdictions in ODOT right-of-way, which is mainly 101, 131, and 6, Highway 6, are completely the discretion and responsibility of ODOT. So the next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, May 17th at 7 p.m. We encourage everyone that would like to attend to either be there in person or attend online. And those desiring to attend online can find the information at the city's website or call the city for assistance. And one last thing I wanted to mention, there's been a lot of discussion about some of the concerns with the people without homes that are living, and we had some discussion about that last night at the council meeting. We met with Sheriff Brown, and I'm going to be reaching out to our commissioners to see if we can meet and talk about some solutions. And we have an organization that actually goes in and helps clean up such places at no cost in Oregon. And on top of that, the chief of police and the public works director and assistant public works director and I went out 2 weeks ago and did a complete site visit over on the city property, and there is a lot of trash that needs to be taken care of. And we are working together on a plan to figure out how we can help in every situation. So that is all my updates, Commissioner, and I appreciate that very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that. I hope you're circling care into those conversations related to those experiencing homelessness. I know that they are working hard on a plan right now, and I would love for those to make sure those two are coordinated.
I am. Thank you. Actually went to their board meeting last week and spoke.
Awesome.
Not the board meeting, but the subcommittees.
Perfect. I know that there are a lot of people. I know everybody feels like we've been waiting a long time for this to come together, and I think that we have, and I think that we are on the cusp of having it come together. So I'm excited to have everyone working in concert, and I think that what will emerge for our community will be some really good services. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. South Tillamook County. Doug Olson, what is happening in South County?
Well, good morning, Commissioner. Things are happening down here. We have two groups working toward our summer event. One Dory Days, a group working that, and they've had several meetings. Things are moving along very quickly and all coming together. And also in Cloverdale, there will be a Clover's Day, as there has been for 40 plus years, and that group is working towards that as well. So today we have our chamber meeting, 12 noon, at the Kiowanda Community Center right here in Pacific City. Our guest speaker today will be Superintendent Misty Fortin of the Meshuggah Valley School District. She and some of her colleagues will be over to talk about some partnerships with the chamber possibly and other businesses. So be an opportunity to learn what's happening on the educational front and what could be done with our businesses, and more importantly the students. Could they find a way to work and go to school at the same time, work over the summer and so on. So all that today, 12 noon at the Kiowanda Community Center. So summer's on the horizon and we're all getting ready. So with that, Commissioner, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the update. Appreciate that. Okay, well, I would like to thank KTIL for broadcasting. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. Go out, enjoy this wonderful day, and we will adjourn this meeting at 8:58 a.m.